What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to talk to you about how I landed my first QA position within a week of being into the market. Now, excuse the noise, they are doing a lot of work in Cabo, so I'm just going to get through this and we're just going to check this up. You ready? If you watched my first video, I actually kind of told you how I got into software testing. Now, in late 2020, I was introduced by Greg Plasher software testing. I saw he was a software tester. He had been doing it for years, and I was at the point where I knew I needed to make some more money. So I reached out to him and wanted to learn about software testing, but I didn't pull the plug then. Now, fast forward to January 2021, I was working a remote position, like a technical support position for about 40K. And I was working that position, but me and my husband got COVID. Literally the week I started that new remote job for 45K, 40K at home. So we got COVID and he couldn't work, I couldn't work. We was down for literally a month where money stopped. I was so scared because, first of all, they didn't even know if I was going to get through, right? Because I was going to the hospital, I was breathing bad. They didn't even know if I was going to survive. After, while going through that, bills started piling up, and it got to the point where after we got over COVID, going into February, we was actively getting over COVID. I had to literally put a title loan on my car just so we can be able to get by and pay rent, right? Because it got that tight. So, and I had vowed that I'd done it in the past, and I vowed that I never would have to do that again. I really didn't want to do it because the car that I owned was a 2014 Nissan Altima. We had a 2014 Maxima, and I finally owned those, right? I went through years of being in debt with cars and having car notes, and I just said I didn't want to have to go through with that. Well, lo and behold, I had to do that and get back in that debt, put a title on my car. That's when I knew I had to do something. So I met Greg. Again, reached out to him, and I can literally show you, he can show you, like, I was reaching out to him. Oh my goodness. I'm like, I hope his wife don't think I'm, trying to push up on this guy. I wanted to know about software testing. I would be up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning trying to make this decision, because I'm seeing $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 jobs. I'm seeing people doing this from being newbies. And then because I work closely, I've done like customer service, technical support. When you've done stuff like that, you're very close to your pivot, and transferable skills. So I said, you know what, maybe this is a good thing I should do. Well, lo and behold, I actually reached out to him. I got started. I bought his program and his ebook, but at the time, I don't know if I had a problem taking in information, but the videos that he had was a bit longer for the time period because I was still working and just getting over COVID. But he had his ebook, and I took his ebook combined with other online resources and went through that. And that's how software testing now opened up to me. Inside of his program, he also introduced a lady by the name of Lori, who also did one-on-one development. So Greg provided the program and the training. He also worked with you in the group capacity, but then Lori also was like resume interview coach. So I ended up working with her because I needed a push. So I needed to further invest in myself to get this done, because life just, as it does, it gets in the way, right? Well, I invested and worked with Lori. She pushed me and said, okay, I need you in the market by, at this time, we're in the middle of March. She said, I need you in the market by April. I BS'd to put my stuff in the market. On April 1st, I said, here's my resume. She said, well, put it in the market. I said, no, you gonna look at it? She said, no, put it in the market. Let me tell you, within 24 hours, my phone was ringing with interviews, and I really hadn't studied much QA, right? She gave me tasks and things that I met with her to focus on, but I was still BSing. Y'all know how we do, right? So I went ahead and put my stuff in the market. The phone rang, and then they asked me for an interview for $80,000 job. Mind you, I'm making $40,000 remote. This is an $80,000 contract to direct hire, and I don't want to lose this. So I hired Lori to work with me Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I actually told them that I was sick. So they wanted to interview me Friday. They reached out to me on Thursday. They wanted me to interview on Friday, but I said, I'm sick. Can we please move it to Monday? They did that. I hired Lori to work with me, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then Monday she interviewed me again. She said, you're doing good, you just need to show up confident. After doing that interview actually only lasted like 20 minutes, y'all, because it was like a first technical or personal interview or behavioral type of personality interview. I got past that. They asked me for the next interview, and I got past the technical interview, which was 20 minutes, and I had this job. That's how I landed my first QA job in 24 hours of being inside of the market. And the reason resources that I used along this journey was definitely Greg's self-tech ebook for intro to software testing. And I took from that, I actually went to Udemy and YouTube, and I learned the things I need to learn from the job description. So I looked at the job description for the interview that I was interviewing for, and I made sure that I was able to speak to points of being familiar, knowledgeable of, exposed. I was able to speak to basic and intermediate or proficient knowledge. And so that's how I positioned myself to show up. So in that job description, they asked about Azure DevOps, and I had never used Azure DevOps because that's a test management tool, but I was familiar with like Jira and Zapier. So what I did was I went to Udemy and YouTube, and then I downloaded some Azure DevOps, but I went to Udemy. In Udemy, I actually had watched a training in Udemy on Azure DevOps, and I was able to speak to the test planning there. Well, needless to say, he liked that. They also use Catalan Studio for automation. He didn't need me to automate. He wanted people that were willing to maybe grow in that department. I watched the video on Catalan Studio. I spoke to what it was, how it works, and an example of me using it and on a basic level, even without me being an automation expert. That's how I landed my first QA job. And, you know, as mentioned, the resources that helped me land this first job was me being on Dice. My resume was only on Dice. Greg's ebook on software testing, Lori, her one-on-one development, Udemy and YouTube were all my resources to landing my first one. So don't overthink this, you guys. It's about pulling out your transferable skills, positioning your resume, and these are all the different resources. Sometimes resources isn't just, you know, you learning a training. Maybe resources are a person or a way you do things. So I hope this was insightful, but that's how I landed my first QA job within 24 hours of being in the market. And if you want more content on this, or if you like hearing these behind the scenes, go ahead and subscribe, like this, share it, and I'll see you on the next one.